Okay, so the title of the teaching is Luck, as you all know. And in case you haven't noticed, it's a trick to get you here. So I guess every one of us kind of look for luck. No matter what kind of person you are, skeptical or gullible, we all kind of consciously or unconsciously look for luck or long for luck. But the definition of luck is very vague. We actually don't know what we mean by luck. Most of us, we don't really have a clear idea what we mean by luck. Actually, I have to admit, I also don't have a clear definition of what luck is, the luck that we are talking. I actually look at the dictionaries, and I even asked some Chinese whether if they could tell me what luck is in Chinese, the definition. I'm assuming that some of you are here expecting that I will present you a definite definition of luck according to Buddhism. Generally, when we talk about luck, it seems that we are talking about some sort of a force or a chance that came about without any known cause or condition. That seems to be the general understanding of what luck is. General, okay? Something that comes unexpectedly, without cause and without a known cause and condition. But as always, human definition and the human interpretations are always vague and always very changeable. Sometimes human beings do seem to think that you can actually create luck through giving numbers such as lucky number 7. Or sometimes we think, oh, we wish you luck, as if we can wish somebody a luck, therefore the other person receives the luck. So in this way, we also kind of believe that luck can be created. And I've also kind of noticed that many times the definition of luck, ideally, the definition of luck should define what is unlucky also, but many times it doesn't seem to do that. Now some of you may be wondering, what is this guy going to talk about luck for next 3 days, 6 sessions? Actually, the sessions are going to be not as long as how it seems to be. So, like in maybe around 4 we will finish. So don't worry. Having said that, the philosophy of karma, which is kind of related to the luck that we are talking, is quite vast and deep in the Buddhist studies. So one could actually go on and on and on, talk about luck for 3 months, I guess. Okay, so, earlier I was just generalizing the definition of luck in kind of two ways. One is a force that comes without any noticeable condition. With this definition, I would say Buddhists will not believe in such kind of luck. something, an experience coming randomly without cause and conditions, that is beyond the Buddhist sort of sphere of philosophy. Nothing comes accidentally or randomly, according to Buddha. So therefore, one would think that luck can be created. But this needs a little bit of careful consideration, because as much as luck can be created, it should not give you the idea that you have the power to create in every way. So what I'm saying is that, let's say you are about to venture something new, something important. As you begin, let's say no black cat crossed the road, which is supposedly an unlucky sign. And somebody even give you a T-shirt that has a giant number 7 printed on it. I don't know, everything that we believe that will bring luck, we have it. Everything that we believe that will bring bad luck, we don't have it. But still, sometimes life doesn't work. So yes, luck is conditional. Luck is dependent on condition, but whether this condition can be created at our will or not really depends individually. And before we go into deep, all these different levels of our conversation, there's a few things that we should also, I think, ponder. What is lucky for someone is not necessarily lucky for another. And not only just individually, we could all say, you guys are lucky that all those lights are holding up there on the ceiling. You guys are quite lucky. Yeah, wouldn't we say that I'm lucky that this is not falling over me? I don't know. We could say that. But this may be very confusing. But maybe all along you have been unlucky because your feet fits in your shoes. Your feet fits in the shoes. So all along, for 30 years you have been wearing shoes, right? And it's unlucky that your foot fits in your shoes. Because 30 years later, doctor finds out that you should have been wearing sandals from the long time. And a lot of things, like we may be lucky that right now, we are lucky that we are not planning to have a food that has a cheese in it tonight. We should really go this level of subtlety. We are lucky that we are not planning to have something like a pizza, because it may be that cheese or that pizza. If you have eaten, you may have got sick. Who knows? Things like maybe you are lucky that you have missed this bus that you were rushing to catch. Because bus in its way to the next destination had a fatal accident. So if we go on talking like that, we don't know whether we are lucky or not that we have only 2 hands. We don't know. Within this, we will come back to these points. I'm just wanting to give you a few things that we could maybe, discuss next few hours, this next few days. such as notion of miracle. Do we believe in miracle or not? The same thing. Do we believe in luck or not? I was just talking last night with someone who, there's this famous book called Secret. I'm sure many of you New Age lovers have read. It's one of the bestseller or something. And if I'm not wrong, I believe the book says, if you really strongly wish for something, it will happen. I would say that author is so lucky that there's millions of people who actually believes in that. Now, wait a minute. I have to define this a little bit. The author is lucky if the author wants to just sell his books and make money and so on and so forth. But author is very, very unlucky that millions and millions of people bought this lie. Because, whatever we wish, it doesn't matter how strong we wish, it doesn't always come true. Most of the time it doesn't come true. Most of the time. And I was telling to this person that, first of all, whatever we wish, most of the time it does not come true, and I wish that it does not come true. I would pray and wish that most of the people's wish does not come true. There's about 1 billion people in China. There's about 1 billion people in India. And most of them, they want to become millionaires. And if these 2 billion people become millionaires, the earth, today's earth, will be destroyed within 1 week. So here, there is something, here we should really ponder about the Buddhist approach to luck. We will visit there, we will come to the Buddhist concept of luck, but just briefly. Probably this is a bit too dense for those who are totally new to the Buddhist teachings, but let's go through this anyway. Do you know, when in Buddhism there's something called 6 realms, and human, hungry ghost, God, hell, all of that. And according to Buddhism, out of these 6 realms, the best is the human realm. The human body is what they call precious human body, so special. And this is quite an important point, because if you are looking at material, if materialism is the index to measure which of the 6 realms does good, like GDP, like America does good GDP, China does good GDP, or that GDP stuff. If the 6 realms, GDP, there is other 2 realms that does much better than human beings. Hungry ghost realm, many hungry ghost realm, and God realm, obviously. They do much better. Compared to them, we are like beggars. So the way Buddhists measure, so what the Buddhists look at the 6 realms, and God realm, to be born as a God is unlucky for a Buddhist. Human being, quite lucky. But of course, as an animal, maybe not lucky. As a hell, of course, not lucky. But even God, not lucky at all. So why is it that human beings are more luckier than the gods? Aren't the gods like really, they can fly, they can see through, they can remember things, they can, I don't know, they have much better, laptops, you understand, stuff like that. So why Buddhists pray fervently never to reborn in the God realm. Well, ideally, of course, become a Buddha. But if not, definitely not go to the hell realm, definitely not even born in the God realm, but as a human being, acceptable. Why? Because it is believed that the human beings have the capacity, if they want, of course, if they wish, they have the capacity to understand the truth. So, according to Buddhism, anything that takes you to the truth seems to be the definition of luck. Now, you are lucky. In this case, if something takes you to the truth, you are lucky. So, a Buddhist would say, when Prince Siddhartha sneaked out of his palace, the fact that the guards, the palace guards, were drunk and fallen asleep, that is so lucky for us. So lucky for us. And when Prince Siddhartha left the palace, even before that, when Prince Siddhartha wanted to go to the city and explore, the fact that, even though the father, the king, tried to conceal all the human suffering, luckily, Prince Siddhartha saw the death and the old age and the sickness. Luckily, our luck that Siddhartha saw the glimpse of death. Now we are opening a big scope here. Huh? What if a scientist managed to really create a medicine or some kind of a scientific achievement to make us all never die, never get old? So unlucky. We will never be interested in the truth. So the sight of the death, sight of old age, sight of sickness, for a spiritual practitioner, for a spiritual person, for someone who wants to follow the path, those sights are reminders. So for them, it's like lucky number 7. I heard in places like Hong Kong and China, people spend so much money to buy number 8 and 7 and for their car plate, car number. I've seen some 8, and I heard they're so expensive. Some of them are like as expensive as a cheap car. For a spiritual person, a sight of cemetery, death, old age, sickness are like those numbers. Priceless. You can't pay any money for that. They're so priceless. Because they are like they ring the bell of truth. And we don't like the truth. We like to conceal, everything concealed. Concealing from the truth is our hobby. And that's how economy thrives. When we manage to conceal the truth. For instance, us here today, I think in this year, many of us will die. Many of us are going to die. That's for sure. And I'm not even predicting, not being, what do you call it? Fortune telling. It's not a fortune telling. I want to talk about a fortune telling, okay? But I'm not fortune telling. Many of us will die. And many of you may think, what an inauspicious remark this man is making today. It's so bad luck. He said that many of us will die. Could be me. Some of you may think like this now. And some of you may think, well, this could be true and this could be me, And when you go home, you look at your wife and husband in a very different manner. You look at her or him as if it is the last day of your life. As you place your head on the cushion, you touch the cushion as if this is it. This is the last time I'm touching a cushion. Who knows next? And so on and so forth. If you do that, then you actually begin to appreciate your wife, begin to appreciate your husband, begin to appreciate the cushion, toilet seat, I don't know, the tablecloths, everything. And for a spiritual person, me telling you, hey, you are going to die this year, that's a blessing. Materially, many of us, we may be doing good. And materially, many countries that used to be not doing good are doing good. And that's good. That is the, in a way, luck or the merit of these beings. And I aspire, may they always enjoy the abundance of material wealth. I wish. But if spiritually, also if we think, such as what we just discussed, that, it could be me who is dying this year. This will also make the world richer. Imagine, we have American senators who actually believes that he or she will die this year, who can face this kind of truth. Imagine, we have this kind of, members of the Politburo in China who actually believes in this kind of truth. It will not only affect individual beings, but it could create big change to lots of people. So developing a spiritual luck is so important, so important. We may be materially lucky, but spiritual luck, so important. We will dwell a little bit more on the understanding of luck today and tonight, and maybe towards the middle of tomorrow, then I can suggest you, if you are interested, how to create this luck in different ways, including the, number 8 and all that. Just to summarize, it seems when we, based on understanding the truth, when we have a contentment, then you are lucky. Then we become lucky. And do you know what that means? That means when you are looking for luck, that is the door open for unluck. When you are more content with your life, then that is the door opening to all kinds of infinite luck. Okay, so we take about 10 maybe 20 minutes break. Please go to the shopping. There's shops really near. Toilets, shops. Just to recap everything what we said earlier, the luck as it is understood by most of us seems to be something like a chance or a force, unknown but favorable. And such kind of luck, according to Buddhism, we may not be able to accept it. There is a reason, though, why we think like that. Now now we are really getting into deeper philosophy of karma, according to Buddhism. Okay, first, if you ask me, is good karma and good luck the same thing? Then I would say, as the luck as how we interpret, they are not same. But if the luck is something to do with the conditioning, it's something to do, if we explain the luck within the context of cause and condition, then yes, at times good luck, good karma can be same. Now the karma is very, very deep and wide, subject, not that easy to sort of summarize. To the certain extent, grossly, based on a gross level of the way the cause and condition and all the other elements function, we can predict. So if you are planting a marigold, you have a earth, you have a fertilizer, water, sunshine, space. You create all the favorable cause and condition. You try to defend it from unfavorable cause and condition. Then you can kind of predict within the certain time marigold will bloom. So this is, but this is a very big generalization. Not all the marigold that you planted with the same care and cause and conditions guarantees that each and every individual marigold seed will blossom. The reason is because each and every individual cause and condition, for instance, like marigold, you have let's say earth, dirt. The dirt also has its own cause and condition. And that cause and condition also has their own cause and condition, so on and so forth. So it's infinite. So any number or any one of them can have a slightly different, chemistry, function, attitude, and that could affect eventually the marigold that you are aiming for. So actually, most of the time when we human beings, when we play our games, so to speak, when we do what we do as a human being, we have a blind expectation and assumption to certain cause and condition that they are the right cause and condition, therefore it should work this way. And there are many cases like this. For instance, education, grooming a child, educating, is supposedly one of the very important cause and condition for future success. And I'm sure many of the parents here are going crazy educating your children in general assumption, such as my child need to get A+, A+, a certain score, certain point, which is designed by another idiot. But we already know that general assumption, time to time, it never bear the result that we expect. Some of the most successful people in the earth, such as Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, are school dropouts. But then you will say, but they are lucky. Or if you are partially informed Buddhist, you will say they have a good karma. But what we don't know is, as I explained to you about the marigold and its generation of generation, cause and condition, and somewhere there is a cause and condition that we don't know of. Likewise, we as a human being, we are basically byproduct of myriad, infinite number of cause and condition. So, right this very moment, you may be having a thought. And this thought can be so mundane and innocent, such as maybe you thought of a used tissue, or a napkin, or I don't know, whatever, very, very, very mundane, momentary thought, whatever the thought, that thought, as innocent as it appears, as mundane as it may be, could be playing a very, 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 very important role in about 500 years' time. Because the moment you think, you get, unless you have mindfulness, you get entangled. When I say entanglement, I mean you go through, you refer, okay, you have a thought of something so mundane, okay, I don't know, already chewed gum stick on some wall or something, I don't know. You have this mundane thought, it then creates a reference. The reference almost always brings judgment. Judgment almost always brings hope and fear. And hope and fear are the grandfather and the grandmother of all our emotions. Emotions creates action. Action creates result. And that is the story of a life of karma. Okay, now the reason why I need to explain this to you is because I'm about to tell you about the merit and good luck. Are they the same thing? Well, and I have already explained to you this, most of it. You know, like if your understanding of luck is something independent, accidental, random, then merit is not like a good luck. But let's say, for the sake of conversation, let's say for the time being, good luck and the merit are the same thing. But do you know, in Buddhism, that's not enough. Merit without the wisdom, good luck without the wisdom, is like a deaf, good singer, deaf, but this person is a very good singer or a musician. Or a boatman without the, what do you call it? Those two rows? Yeah. So, a merit without the wisdom can make you really stuck. So this actually brings us a much deeper level, higher level of the understanding of luck or the merit in Buddhism. In fact, when there's accumulation of merit, of course, the accumulation of the merit is important to bring the wisdom, but the wisdom is also important to generate and multiply the merit. We will have to sort of discuss this more, because this is a little sort of academical or intellectual. What really is something that one should notice is that merit or the luck is so individual that you cannot, so individual. Even though it is individual oriented, it is possible that many individuals have a similar good luck or bad luck. So, for instance, like when many individuals, we are not talking about sharing, many individuals have a similar good luck, then we enjoy good leadership, good weather. Of course, very generalized, big generalization again. Okay, so looks like there's several questions. I'm ready to answer some of these questions.
How to create the luck of finding a good wife or husband?
That's a very big question. Because what do we mean by good husband and good wife? I'm not being philosophical here. I was partially teasing some of my friends yesterday. I was saying, I personally would never want to have a Chinese wife. And she said, why? I said, because Chinese wives are so loyal. And to me, anybody who is loyal to me it gives me so much pleasure. So you see, individually, good husband, good wife is so individual, right? Anyway, I will treat this as a very valid and important question, because it is. I think tomorrow we are going to talk about luck and attitude, because that's quite important, attitude regarding the luck. But since you asked here, the attitude towards relationship really can create the luck, I think. And that, again, attitude differs to different individual beings. I know a couple who is married, and they had a tough time for years, just not getting along well. And then we discussed, husband, wife, me, we all sat together and we discussed. So we come to a conclusion, let's not call it a marriage anymore. Let's call it a company. Husband is a shareholder and the wife is a shareholder, the children may also hold a share. Call it a company. I have to say, they both also agreed that it has changed a little bit, to better. So attitude, your attitude is so important towards so-called marriage or relationship. Because it's very complicated. But, you should think, it's almost not possible to have love and relationship both together properly. You almost can't have it. I'm talking about, romantic love. I'm not talking about the other loves, just romantic. The other loves, maybe mutual love, yes, you can have. But the romantic love, I think it kind of ends on the marriage day. Because I was told that, like sometimes I write movie stories. So the genre of love, romantic film, romantic story, to make it a successful romantic story, it has to have obstacle. Then it's very sentimental, there's an intensity, there's an emotion, it's sad. But when you are trying to have a relationship, sad and all of that might not do good. So I would say, what kind of luck should one have for a better relationship? I would say the luck, in this case, I think we should try to concentrate on gathering the luck or the merit to generate the proper right attitude and therefore create the proper and the right communication. Beside that, you can generate good deeds and dedicate this to get a good husband or a good wife. That would be a bit like using, very accomplished, scholar to teach alphabet to kids. It's like a bit like a waste of aspiration, but if that's what we wish, then why not? And then if you are hoping for a more concrete and practical advice, something to chant, like mantras to chant, so that you can get a good husband and wife, we will be discussing this on the third day. Dharma method always favors the truth. So a particular mantra that you chant, so that you try to get a good husband or wife, you chant millions of times, and if you don't get a good husband and a wife, probably that's Dharma wants That's what Dharma wants. If all these things doesn't work, then by all means, enroll in a dating service. Okay? Any other question?
Why wisdom is non-dual, and what is the use of this wisdom, this non-dual wisdom?
They're probably not really within our context of discussion like a luck, but nevertheless, why not? It is all, the non-duality, the wisdom of non-duality is all pervasive. So I shall say a few words. In Buddhism, it has come to a conclusion that the root of all the pain and the suffering that we have endlessly is because of the dualistic thoughts and distinctions and grasping and fixation. But even if I say this, many of us might partially understand and partially, vaguely kind of agree, yes, of course, ignorance, dualistic mind is bad, but deep down, we really don't see the downfall of dualistic mind as how we should. We may be brave enough to do without many dualistic thoughts and actions, but deep down, certain dualistic thoughts and actions, we cherish, we treasure it, we cling on it so much. Similarly, the non-duality, most of us, we only know it on an intellectual level. Maybe the rare occasions that we experience the non-dual experience, but even that very vaguely are such as like you dream a good dream. Everything that you wish for whole life came true, let's say, in the dream. But when you wake up, you realize that has all been a dream. So when we experience this kind of, like in the dream, so much excitement, when you wake up, kind of a disappointment, but not really a big disappointment because, it's not true anyway. So let's say you dreamt winning a lottery in the dream. Actually, instead of my example, let me give you the example Buddha himself put it. In the Samadhi Raja Sutra, the king of the meditation sutra, Buddha said, he said, for example, a young girl dreams meeting a very beautiful boy, and she gets so happy in the dream for meeting this boy. And within that very dream, the boy dies. And when he dies, the girl gets so depressed. Finally, when she wakes up, both the excitement of appearance of the boy and the depression of disappearance of the boy are not really happened. This is how one must understand all the experience that we have it now, even as we are talking. So maybe a very gross general understanding of non-duality, intellectual level may be there, but really deep understanding and appreciation of non-duality is not there for many of us. If you do even a glimpse of understanding of non-duality, and by the way, it's not like it's impossible to realize, and it's very possible. It's very, very possible. It's actually much easier than making a noodle or something. So if you do understand, have even a glimpse of the understanding of non-duality, then I have to say it's like really the fixer of all the problem. medicine for all the outer, inner, and secret ailment, sickness, the generator of all the outer, inner, and secret wealth, prosperity. Well, those who are reading the Hatha Sutra, towards the end of the Hatha Sutra, Buddha stated the benefit of understanding the wisdom. So that's it, basically. But here, to bring our attention to the subject that we have been discussing, luck, we should consider ourselves very, 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 very lucky that 2,500 years ago, on a peak called Rajgir, Shariputra suddenly had a curiosity. And we are so lucky that there was Avalokiteshvara to discuss this curiosity. And we are so lucky that there is also the Buddha himself presiding over this conversation between the Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara. They are great, bodhisattvas and arahats. And fast forwarding 2,500 years later, it's amazing, it's unbelievable that we are so lucky that we even have an interest in the non-dual wisdom, because it's got nothing to do with the shares and market and stocks and all the usual materialist things. Okay, so on this note, I'm going to stop here this afternoon, and I believe that some of you are not coming back, so for your benefit, I'm going to recite a mantra of interdependence. And the mantra of interdependence is, everything is dependent. Everything. There's nothing that is not dependent on something. And this is very important to know. Huh? In many levels, this is important to know. On a most basic level, it should tell you, you have no control over anything. You have no control. Do you really think your life is in your hand? Even this flower petal could determine your life. You have no control, absolutely none actually, because everything is dependent. Keeping this in our head, now what we do is we learn the game of dependency. So, it's like if there is a game being forced upon you, you can do two things. You refuse to play the game, or you play its game. But right now, you can't refuse to play the game because you are already in the game. So we play the dependent game now. And what is the rule? All the games have a rule. The rule number 1 is to know that everything is dependent. Rule number 2 is also to know that everything is dependent. To understand, to bring that awareness, we then do all kinds of things. Really, if you understand, can accept that everything is interdependent, this is the biggest, it's like really like a multiplier of luck. Okay, so I'm going to chant this mantra, just listen, concentrate on the sound. You don't need to do anything, just listen. Om Yedharma Yedubrabhava Yedintikintagataya Vaditekinzayinirda Evam Bhatimaha Sharmana Som Yedharma Brabhava Yedintikintagataya Vaditekinzayinirda Evam Bhatimaha Sharmana Som Yedharma Hedubrabhava Yedintikintagataya Vaditekinzayinirda Evam Bhatimaha Sharmana Som Pinsum Sobam Sirjiri Vadijidism Sanjay Pemantam Rajivichang Odinidam Tinya Bichuram Evajidism Churchitam Bichuram 이든 넘버 저던데 너지 미단도 한만지 주변에 초지 저런 거 어쩌든 바지 되는지 된게 왜 자시 somba. Okay, that's it. Oh. We have a break and then we meet. Dinner, after dinner we meet. So in case there are who just walked in and missed the afternoon session, we have been talking about luck. And the purpose of us specifically talking about the luck here is concepts such as luck, miracle, blessings. They're so slippery concept that we always end up mixing them, and we always end up misunderstanding a lot of these concepts. In the traditional Buddhist path, we talk about two kinds of downfalls. One type of downfall is you overestimate, over-expect, basically, exaggerate, overestimate, therefore overly expect and assume. And this leads us to become kind of eternalist, sort of, very self-centered, egocentric, very proud, and stubborn, so on and so forth. Then, on the other hand, we also fall into this downfall of like underestimation, sort of, like estimating, instead of overly expecting, then we dare not expect, or basically some sort of a fear to expect, fear to assume, fear to trust. So you see that, for instance, like the trust and the mistrust, sort of the doubt. This leads us generally to the problem of being completely negative and nihilist and hopelessness. And so many of the modern people basically fall into these two kinds of problems. Either overly, I should not say confident, but overly proud and get carried away by expectations and assumption, or the opposite, completely fear, have this fear and not only trusting all the situations and others, but not even trusting oneself and one's own ability. So becoming, losing total sort of self-esteem, so to speak. Basically, in a simple, very simple, if I use a very simple jargon, a simple language, hope and fear, blindly hoping and blindly fearing. And so these two weaknesses, they're very stubborn, sort of, they remain for a long time. Even the most seasoned practitioners could get attacked constantly by the hope or the fear. So the way we understand things like luck, blessing, miracle are also like that. We totally, sometimes we totally believe in this chance or this force that will just fall upon you and gets fixed everything. Other times we feel so what I'm saying is basically two things. We either go through the problems of thinking that we are under the control, we can control everything. So this kind of blind assumption, or we just cannot control anything. So this is what we have been kind of discussing this afternoon. Now let's discuss a little bit more about cause and condition. Now we talked about, our habit of believing in things that are very seemingly ridiculous, like lucky numbers, lucky colors, lucky stones, and so on and so forth. They are not, don't misunderstand me, I'm not really discarding them. I'm not saying that they don't work or they don't exist. I cannot say that. It really, as I said, we are so under the control of different conditions. And conditions are basically human byproduct, which is created by different culture and different habit. It may be true that in certain Western countries, you don't see like the 13th floor, because the 13th is considered bad luck or inauspicious. Similarly, I was told in Chinese society, you don't see the 4th floor. As skeptics could easily laugh at these things and saying that these are all superstition. But this is too arrogant to laugh at. Even the scientists have superstition, because the definition of superstition is basically, it boils down to belief, blindly believing, isn't it? And as a human being, there's only one thing that we are capable of doing, and that is believing. Even if you don't believe in something, it actually means that you are blindly believing in the reason for not believing. So things like this, like lucky numbers, lucky colors, all of this also plays the part to a different psychologically conditioned beings in different culture, different nationality. It can. For instance, like in a certain, if you come from a certain Himalayan region, number 13 can be very auspicious. The number 13th is the sort of absolute the achievement in the path of the enlightenment. That is, number 13 is what we call the Sarvavakaya, which is the embodiment of all the Buddha's quality. But important here we need to know is that this luck can be created. Can be created. But just because you can create does not mean that you have a total control. You can fiddle with it to, some parts. You can sort of maneuver it. You can change its direction here and there a little bit. But because we don't have the capability to understand every aspect of cause and condition, to control from the root is difficult. So you might want to ask, so is there a way to really control all these conditions from the root? Well, the whole purpose of the Buddha Dharma is to actually do just that. The aim for the Buddha Dharma is to really uproot the cause and condition entirely. So, in nutshell, if I tell you, what should the Buddhists do? They should try to avoid all kinds of negative thoughts and actions. And temporarily and relatively, they should try to accumulate all kinds of good thoughts and actions. Only temporarily. This is an important point. You need to... ultimately, Buddhist aim is to go beyond both the good thought and bad thought, good action and the bad action. All of them. Ultimately to go beyond all the karma. So ultimately, the Buddhists should not be looking for luck as much as we don't look for unluck. Okay. To illustrate this, what I've just said, if I just very briefly, Buddhists teach renunciation mind, for instance. And Buddhists teach paths such as love and compassion and the bodhicitta and understanding of the non-duality. So, what is renunciation? Okay, we are still talking about the luck, by the way. Within the context of luck, where does the renunciation fit in? In nutshell, you have to, we are all dwelling in this worldly, we dwell in this existence, this worldly existence. You have to come to a term that to live on this existence, to carry on living in this kind of existence is like if your plumbing has a problem in the bathroom and try to fix it with a Scotch tape. Temporarily, Scotch tape can help not leak the water. That's how we are supposed to look at our life. So what I'm saying is, you come here to listen to a topic called luck. So you all have this expectation, hey, let's go there. And probably we get some tips on how to get a luck, and then we fix this life. But what I'm saying is, this life cannot be fixed. All of us are going to get old. That's it. It cannot be fixed. All of us are going to die. Cannot be fixed. All the things that we gather are going to be scattered one day. Cannot be fixed. All the things that you accompany with you right now, such as your mobile phone, one day you have to leave it behind. Cannot be fixed. The problems that we have cannot be fixed. Not at all. Temporarily, like a Scotch tape, medicine, vitamins, money, friends, shopping, sex, all of this can help a little bit maybe, temporarily. And this is quite an important point to realize. And not only realize, but accept it wholeheartedly. Doesn't mean that you have to change anything. You carry on like what you are doing right now, but really accepting this truth is very important. It will really change the attitude of your life towards oneself and towards the others. Some modern people, but not only modern people, some people have reached to a corner where they're cornered by the situation, where they just become so nihilist, so hopeless. Many people have jumped from the roof, ate poison, hanged themselves, so on and so forth. If that's going to solve the problem, like jumping from the roof or overdosing yourself with sleeping pills, if that's going to fix our problem, I say that I will like to do it first. But sadly, that is not the end. When you overdose yourself with the sleeping pills, something called death happens. Only just that, death. The great Indian scholar Nagarjuna wrote to his friend, a king. He wrote a long letter, actually. Lots of advice. He said, Well, my friend, do whatever you want to do, but make sure that you don't reborn. So there you go. That death is not the end. There's something even worse than the death. It's called birth. Because that's how we have been conditioned. Now, this is very relevant to the luck that we have been talking, by the way. Because after hearing these things, then you should really contemplate and see what kind of luck should you have. Should you have a luck to have a scotch tape, or should you have a luck to get rid of all the problem from the root? But this is easier said than done. Most of the time we love scotch tapes. And those scotch tapes, they look so beautiful and they promises a lot. Especially when they're on sale. That's it. We just have to get it. So now, I was talking about the renunciation. Now on the path. Once a bodhisattva complained to the Buddha, this is after many years of practicing bodhicitta. The young bodhisattva looks at the world and just felt so, sad that the beings in the world are so ignorant and roaming around in this samsara endlessly and doing, useless things endlessly, fruitless things continuously. But the bodhisattva looks at his own situation and then realized that all so-called his friends and families, they're all like people who check in to a same hotel, that you stay maybe 1 or 2 nights together under the same roof, but then sooner or later they all sort of disperse and they go in their own ways. So Bodhisattva realized that so-called his friends or families, within this short life, maybe they become friends and families. After this life, they don't even know each other for many, 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 many lifetimes. So basically, the Bodhisattva felt complete awkward to this samsara. And when this was told to the Buddha, that he was saying that he was feeling very sad and depressed about this illusory aspect of this life. Feeling, sadness towards the existence of the cyclic existence is an amazingly, priceless wealth. So as you can see, for the Bodhisattva path, feeling sadness such as this is considered very lucky. Then, still on the path, to be able to understand the wisdom and to dwell in the wisdom, that requires so much merit. But I think this we talk more tomorrow. So before I go through talking about the before I go talk about the merit and the wisdom, maybe we can go through some questions so that we know at least we are at the same page.
To be a monk or nun, do you consider it is lucky or not? And then, after you become a monk or nun, after that, what is the real luck?
Okay. To be a monk and nun is so lucky for Buddha in the Buddha Dharma. You should all become nun and monk. I'm serious. I'm not joking this one. There is tradition available in such as places like Burma, Sri Lanka, maybe in Thailand, where you can become monk for 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months. You should do it. You have to do it. You must do it. So many, if you can do that, you are so lucky. And I will tell you a few reasons. Buddha himself said, Shakti se, Shakti dungju, which means those who have become monk or nun, they are considered the sons and the daughters of the Shakti Muni himself. So that's very lucky to begin with. And by the way the question seems to come, the person who's asking this question seems to think that the monks and nuns, it's almost like a penance, right? Penance. It's like a hardship. And again, this depends on, again, your attitude.
Okay.
First of all, you have to know the Buddha Dharma is what we call the path of the Sugatas, which means the path, blissful path. There is never a force. There's never, like, if you don't want to do something, there's never a force. And so you can choose, even the vows, you can choose basically what you are capable of. You can choose that. So this is why, I was suggesting maybe a month or, several weeks ordination, getting that ordination. Why? The other reasons why having that kind of vow is because of this kind of vow, you are already protected from all kinds of further misdeeds. Now, I want to clarify something. When I say to be a monk, you should become a monk or nun, I'm not saying that you should join a club. I wasn't saying that. That also exists, by the way. And this is the human stain. There you see lots of problems. Part of renunciation has to be individual. Robes such as what these guys are wearing in front of me is tools to remind themselves their renunciation, their love and compassion, so on and so forth. It is not a uniform. It is not to indicate that they belong to a certain group, therefore they need so and so treatment. Nothing like that. The club situation, like a monk's club, that has so much problems. Some are good, but many have problems because this is a human, monastic and all of this. There's a lot of problems there. Corruptions, everything. Joining a club does not protect you from further misdoings. In fact, joining a club could enhance your misdoings. The slogan for the Vinaya practitioners is not to disturb others and not to cheat oneself. Vinaya monk, or Vinaya fully ordained monk, is not supposed to eat after midday. And if this monk happens to be somewhere in Kenya, where nobody knows what Buddhist monks does or doesn't, he should still not eat after midday. So it's a very individual path. And this kind of discipline is like a vessel for many, many virtuous quality. So I really encourage you to be monk and nun. Just 2 weeks, just a month. And then among many other things, I would encourage you to go to places like Burma or Sri Lanka to do this. The tradition requires that they go and beg for food. And that is one of the most dignifying and elegant way of living, begging for food. Because you are really not harming anything. Now, the second part of the question, I didn't really understand. What is a real monk? Right?
After you become monk or nun, what is considered to be true luck?
True luck, I see.
Yeah.
True luck is to be able to keep that vow and the path. And I will tell you something quite interesting, which Buddha himself said. You see, the monks have 150 vows. Buddha said, during his time, if a monk keep all the vows intact but break one or two, and during the degenerated time, such as time now, if a monk breaks all the vow but keep maybe one or two, they have an equal amount of merit. I may not be able to answer all the questions, but we will try.
Dear Rinpoche, we pray for long life of Guru in the daily chanting, and yet we are so unlucky to have just experienced some venerable Dharma masters in Nirvana. Would you please kindly instruct what we should do to truly pray for their long life? Thank you.
The long life of the Guru, Master, the necessity of having a longevity of a Guru is because of there's one function, there's one function, the benefit, which is the master to remind us the teaching, basically. So aspiration to have your master live long can mean several things. It could mean like a mundane way, such as him really live long, sort of like really celebrate more birthdays, so to speak. But more importantly, we aspire that his presence will be felt forever long. So if a master's presence can be felt in different ways, the appearance of the master dissolving, as master dying and all of that, that's not that crucial. That's not that important. I forgot the numbers, but I think the Shakyamuni's decision to pass into the parinirvana in Kusinagar, that act has liberated equal or more sentient beings during his lifetime. Shakyamuni Buddha lived for almost 80 years, and then he decided to pass into the parinirvana. That decision, basically to die and dissolving into the parinirvana, that benefit equal or more sentient beings during his lifetime.
Rinpoche, could you please kindly explain the difference between karma and fatalism? For example, when one decides to practice Buddhism, is this a result of karma, cause and condition, or a result of one's free will? If it is a result of karma, doesn't it mean this path is predetermined? If it is a result of free will, where does the free will come from? If the free will is a result of previous karma, then what is the initial force that set this person on this path?
Now, this is something that we have discussed this earlier, but also I was thinking to discuss more tomorrow, but since the question is raised, I'll mention here a little bit. Again, and actually you have already heard right at the beginning this afternoon, many of you, if you were here. Again, the concept fate, predetermined. or free will. Those words are so vague. Just like the word luck is so vague. Actually, as Jigme Lingpa, one great master said, everything we human beings use, the language, when we speak, we use a word and language, they're all so vague, never precise. There's never a good, communication, for instance, communication. There's no such thing as understanding or misunderstanding. There is no such thing. There's only misunderstandings. There are two kinds of misunderstanding. One is a successful misunderstanding, and the other is not successful misunderstanding. When people have not successful misunderstanding, people are having good time. When they actually do successfully misunderstand, of course they fight. And this is all because of the word. The language is so vague. So also in the, for instance, the modern scientific world, they cherish so much what the word, concepts such as objective. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing as objective. Everything is subjective. You can pretend that it is an objective view. Fate. What is this? You are cooking an egg, let's say. The water is boiling very hot, and there's no indication that the fire is running out. There's no goats, toppling over this pot. Egg is inside, and it has been already... How long does it take to cook an egg? 3 minutes? Fully cooked. So it has been almost like, let's say, 4 minutes, 30 seconds. You can always talk about the fate of the egg. It's already cooked, almost all cooked. You can say that's the egg's fate. But, that's a very, very misunderstood. See, this is a misunderstanding because we completely overlook the fact that it has been, boiling in the water. So we are only talking about one end bit of a phenomena. That's why there's, the Buddhists also don't have things like soul mate. Of course, we experience love at first sight. Of course we experience, but does not mean it is something to do with the soul mate. Whatever that is, that's also very vague. What does it mean? In a trained Buddhist ear, a Buddhist whose ear is trained by the philosophy of karma, the word soul mate is similar to two people about to pay karmic debt each other. Like now when I'm thinking about it, my situation, I just cannot see that I will marry a Bolivian girl. I don't know any Bolivian girl at all. But we never know when the karmic wind blows. For all I know, I will be studying Spanish so hard so that I can have at least some unsuccessful misunderstanding. So, I'm trying to answer this very complicated question. This is a very good question. Bottom line, Buddhists don't believe in accidental things, random things, like the luck, a force, a chance that comes out of the blue, Relatively speaking, Buddhists don't believe in these things. But having said this, I appreciate the word, even though it's vague, I appreciate the word like soulmate and fate. I appreciate this. It actually, I can understand why we use this language. Because as the Bolivian girl, it came, in my situation, is out of the blue. So it's like unbelievable. I ended up like this. So I can use the word, oh, this must be my fate that I met a Bolivian person. But the fact of the matter is the cause and like infinite number of cause and conditions are behind this. And those cause and conditions, if you don't dismantle them, they stay. The biggest demonstration was demonstrated by Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna supposedly, he was a saint, so he blessed himself to live very, very long. And his friend, remember the guy whom he wrote, whatever you do, just do so that you don't have to be reborn. He blessed his friend to remain as long as him. So the crown prince, meanwhile, is getting old. The friend is the king. His prince, his son, is getting really, really old, and he's never going to get the chance to become a monk. The king. So he went to Nagarjuna to kill Nagarjuna, basically. So he tried with axe and swords and all kinds of things. And Nagarjuna said, these are useless. But if you really want to kill me, I will teach you how to do it. He said, when he scanned through his karmic debt, basically almost all the karmic debts are cleared, but he forgot one being's life. Like millions and millions of lifetimes before, when Nagarjuna was cutting a grass, he killed an insect. And this life, this karmic debt was not sorted out, so to speak. So Nagarjuna said, you should use the grass to cut his head. Nagarjuna asked the boy to use a grass.
What is the relationship between the grass and the insect?
Because the insect was dwelling on the grass, and all this connection of conditioning. And Nagarjuna temporarily died. But look, I'm getting scattered. Can you repeat that question? I'm getting that.
That's a long question, Rinpoche.
Can you repeat that?
Could you please kindly explain the difference between karma and fatalism? For example, when one decides to practice Buddhism, is it...
Okay, good. So basically, fatalism and karma is oxymoron, or they're contradiction. Because it sounds like a fatalism has got nothing to do with the cause and condition. It's a fate, it's a chance. Now, the concept predetermined is a bit tricky. Now, this is also a very, very big debate between Buddhist philosophy and Vedic philosophy. Okay, predetermined, like the Nagarjuna's case, you can say it's a predetermined. But the predetermined in the Buddhist mind, predetermined is not something undestroyable. So you can actually destroy it, but as a destroyer of this kind of predetermined fate, if you like, you have to be very powerful. Because you have to see this, you have to see the, like the first generation cause and condition. Just like medical science, for instance, if you are really good at what you are doing, you can identify the symptom, the real symptom. So the symptom may be something like a predetermined, seemingly predetermined symptom, but if you can identify the cause, you can destroy the cause so that that symptom doesn't occur. Yeah, but you need to be quite powerful with that. So basically, in Buddhism, all the karma can be manipulated, destroyed, purified, if you want to. Forget the past karma. Even the future karma you can destroy. That's how it is in the practice methods. And if you look at the logic of cause and condition, actually it makes sense that it can be destroyed. Okay, maybe the next question.
There are people touting 3 days ticket of this teaching in here, selling at a high price. What consequence will they get due to this action, according to the law of karma and effect?
I only feel sorry that I'm the one who's giving you the teaching. If it was someone who's really an enlightened being, and if you are the one who's buying this black market ticket, you will have so much merit. And since, you are willing to do this, and this is only if teacher is someone who's enlightened. You may be even appreciating this guy to give you the chance to accumulate extra merit. But as I have to say, I feel sorry that you have to listen to beings like me here.
But how about the one selling the ticket?
What?
How about the one selling the ticket?
Who knows what happens to him? Probably he's having a nice shopping experience.
The reason why I would like to come for this teaching is because I want to give up the so-called luck. Because I start to understand everything is impermanent, and every feeling is, every emotion is suffering. Of course, it is, I'm not saying that it is a very fundamental understanding, because I still have a lot of obstacles. So I'm still attracted by those Scotch tapes. So under these circumstances, what are the useful methods to make me let go of those Scotch tapes?
I think it's important to know that it cannot be fixed. And then it's good to fix it with Scotch tape. Because if you don't use the Scotch tape, that's a bit like hanging yourself. By Scotch taping, it gives you more chance. It should give you more chance that it cannot be fixed. And that's really good. And besides, by trying to fix this unfixable life, in the midst of this, you can maybe benefit others. You can let somebody use your bathroom temporarily. And actually, you actually also mean it when you invite somebody at home. Please, use my home as yours. Because it cannot be fixed. You are much more generous.
Rinpoche, if birth is even more terrible than death, then for a woman, do you think giving birth to a child is luck or unluck?
Why single out women? It again, this I've already explained before, it depends so much on your motivation. I think I've told you, some of you this. There used to be a nun in India, and very good nun. And because I mean, especially around that time, India is kind of more male-dominating society. When she realized the Buddha Dharma was so in disarray, such a sort of ramshackle situation, she couldn't bear it. So she really wanted to do something, but as a woman in India, especially around that time, we are talking about I think maybe the 6th century or something like that. She couldn't do, as a woman, she couldn't do much. So she got an idea. She disrobed as a nun. She flirted with the prince and caught this prince. Yeah, basically she managed to get hold of this prince. Just you have to imagine, 6th century India, this very difficult society, and must have been a big, big scandal. This wild nun, what's she doing? Disrobing and all of that. Anyway, as a result of this, outcome was Asanga. And if not for Asanga, like Xuanzang, or the Chinese, they have nothing to do. Like the Chinese monk like Xuanzang, their lineage come from Asanga. And as if that was not enough, this nun, she jilted this prince. She got rid of him and flirted with a Brahmin, and out came Vasubandhu. If not for Vasubandhu, most of the Buddhist study on metaphysics is gone. So that kind of birth, wow, is thanks to this woman. So we never know. We cannot tell these things. Okay, one more question and then we end here.
Are we born with a dualistic nature, or is it acquired through the way we are taught to view reality?
Dualistic mind is not just begun this lifetime. So dualistic mind existed before this lifetime. So it's not like born this lifetime. In fact, it is the dualistic mind. That's why there was past life. So I think can't really answer all the questions. So tonight we will end here and we continue with more on the Mahayana approach for merit and luck, and then how to generate this luck or the merit tomorrow.